In spite of my misleading shirt, it is in fact November, and November is the video game buyingest month of the year, so if you're looking to buy some video games, November is the month to do it. To help distract you from how stupid that sentence was, let me tell you about some of these exciting new games that are coming out in the month of November 2022. On the 3rd, the chant comes to next-gen consoles and PC, which looks to be a psychological horror-tinged narrative puzzle adventure where you're exploring a spiritual retreat that seems to be veering into creepy cult territory, which seems like it has some potential, but if that sounds like a bunch of woo-woo nonsense and you'd rather just cut off somebody's head with a sword, Die by the Blade might be more your speed. That's a fighting game that's kind of giving me some Bushido Blade vibes, except with a coat of neon cyberpunk paint and some wub-wub techno. I could be way off, but it's got swords and one-hit kills, so there's that. That's on PC, the Xboxes, and PlayStations. On those very same platforms is also the Entropy Center, a first-person physics-based puzzle adventure where your gun talks to you that looks like it might click with Portal fans. Meanwhile, on PC and Switch, there's From Space, which is a co-op twin-stick shooter featuring adorable bubble-headed people and a shitload of the color magenta, so if you hate magenta, sleep on that one. Also on PC and Switch, plus the PlayStations, is Horse Tales Emerald Valley Ranch, which looks like if Breath of the Wild was less about saving Hyrule and more about just having a nice time with your horse. It's easy to crack jokes about horse games, but at Gamescom this year I saw a little girl excitedly playing a demo of this at a kiosk, and it was a nice heartwarming reminder that video games are for everybody, and also that since becoming a parent, I have become soft and weak. Anyway, if you're not soft and weak and you think that horses are for little girls, you might prefer King's Hunt on PC, which is a dark fantasy third-person arena brawler where you can play as a scary clown, or a cool knight with a big hammer, or a woman with glowing eyes who decided to wear gothic medieval lingerie to this arena battle because of video games. Also on PC is Outshine, an arcade runner game that you play by typing. Yes, that's right, it looks like Beat Saber, but with the written word. Get f***ed, Mavis Beacon, eat shit, Mario. Next-gen typing has arrived, exclusively on PC, because that's the only one that has keyboards. Hey, speaking of typing, the script for this video is already over a page long as of me saying this part, and I haven't finished listing November 3rd's games, so I should probably put the pedal to the metal, which is a thing that you can do in a car in WRC Generations, which is also out on the 3rd for everything but Switch. But don't feel left out, Switch owners, because on November 4th, you get the platforming-centric Metroidvania Eterna Noctis, the farming/life sim/JRPG-ish fantasy Harvestella, which is also coming to PC, and the critically acclaimed co-op adventure It Takes Two, directed by fan favorite Game Awards potty mouth Josef Fares.
Okay, can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. The Oscars, you know?
On November 7th, there's Soulstone Survivors on PC, which is about Clint Barton coping with his guilt over his best friend Natasha Romanoff sacrificing herself to acquire an Infinity Stone. I'm kidding. Just a little Soulstone Survivor humor for you. This is actually a fantasy roguelike. On the 8th, there's A Little to the Left on PC, which is yet another Marie Kondo-like Zen indie puzzler about organizing household objects that'll probably appeal to fans of unpacking, and if you've got time to play this game, you've got time to clean your damn house. If you'd rather organize a locker room full of sweaty men than a nice house, you might be better off with one of 3 Football Manager games dropping on the 8th. There's Football Manager 2023 on PC, Football Manager 2023 console on PS5 and both Xboxes, and Football Manager 2023 Touch on Switch, which is a weird name because it suggests that the Switch is not a console, but it also puts an emphasis on touching, which is suspect because getting handsy is frowned upon in both football and in management. Did you hear that? That's the sound of thousands of hardcore Sonic fans cracking their knuckles and getting ready to leave angry comments on IGN videos because Sonic Frontiers is coming out for everything on the 8th, and I'm sure we'll do something to piss them off. Or maybe they're still mad because somebody spoke ill of Sonic on an IGN podcast 7 years ago. Or maybe they haven't gotten over the low review score that Sonic Adventure got 23 years ago. But either way, the Blue Blur is back in an all-new open zone game that's basically on everything. A day later, one of the biggest games of the year drops on PS4 and PS5, God of War Ragnarok, and one question remains. Will the sequel make you a better father than the first game did? I'm gonna go ahead and say absolutely not, because I will personally be ignoring my family to make Kratos beat the shit out of a smorgasbord of deities and beasts and inanimate objects, all the while getting more in touch with his feelings and his son. If you want a game about something that is a lot slower than Sonic and ideally doesn't smash as much stuff as Kratos does, there's City Bus Manager on PC. If you prefer a simulation involving a much more controversial, politically charged public service that has way more funding and generally a higher body count than even the most disastrously mismanaged transit department, there's Police Simulator Patrol Officers on the PlayStations and Xboxes. Also out on the 10th for PC, there's the roguelite sci-fi shooter RPG Fabular, Once Upon a Space-Time, and the 2D platformer Shadow of the Guild. On the 11th, Tactics Ogre Reborn is on PC, the PlayStations, and Switch. This is a remastered overhaul of the 2010 Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, one of the more popular entries in the long-running Ogre Battle TRPG series, which is a habit of naming its games after early Queen songs, which rules. Do Fairy King next. Anyway, if you like whimsical fantasy stuff, that day also sees the release of Valkyrie Elysium on PC, and if you prefer whimsical hide-and-seek, there's the Where's Waldo-like Hidden Through Time Definitive Edition on PS4 and Switch. Speaking of finding hidden stuff, Pentiment hits PC and Game Pass on the 15th, and a pentiment is a secret image in a painting that's been covered over, and Pentiment the game is a murder mystery adventure where you play as an artist in 16th century Bavaria, and it's a longtime passion project from Josh Sawyer, who was the lead designer on Fallout New Vegas, so if you like cleverly written games where your choices really matter, don't sleep on this one. If a game where you basically play as Albrecht Dürer sounds insufferably highbrow, well, why don't you go play Smurf's Kart on your Nintendo Switch, you Philistine? That is also smurfing its way to Smurf Gen Smurf Souls in 20 Smurfy 3. Also that day is the roguelite beat-em-up dungeon crawler Bravery and Greed, which is on PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, the Wet n Wild PC survival game Floodland, and the century-spanning adventure game Siberia the World Before on either of the next-gen consoles. But hands down, the biggest game of November 15th, if not this entire year, is Garfield Lasagna Party, which is coming to all the platforms. And in this game, the lugubrious feline and his cohorts, Odie, Nermal, and the pink woman cat, whose name I don't know, must band together to end John Arbuckle's pathetic existence once and for all by killing him. Okay, not really. It's a party game involving lasagna and other Italian food. Anyway, war never changes, but Call of Duty Warzone does, and version 2.0 of the massively successful free-to-play Battle Royale is officially out in the wild on the 16th. The one time my coworkers invited me to play Warzone with them, I was driving our squad around in a big truck, and then my dog stepped on the remote and opened the ESPN app. By the time I got back to Warzone, everybody was dead because I'd crashed the truck into a wall right in front of another squad who had promptly murdered us. Needless to say, my colleagues have not invited me to play since. Perhaps a game better suited for bumbling simpletons like myself is Goat Simulator 3, which is out a day later on PC and Next Gen, and I hope I can keep up with the story even though I never played Goat Simulator 2 because it doesn't actually exist. In addition to co-op, GS3 features way more polished graphics while still maintaining the same amount of slapstick ragdoll jankiness, and it probably adds all sorts of stupid new abilities and ridiculous costumes for the goats and various other playable barnyard animals. If you prefer less realistic barnyard animals that behave much more realistically, there's also My Fantastic Ranch on PC, Switch, PS5, and Series X. Then there's the mystical survival game set in the desert Star Sand, which sounds like a nice dry alternative to Floodlands if you hate fake video game water for some reason. That's on all the consoles that don't rhyme with Unfriendo Kitsch. Speaking of Switch, on the 18th, it is once again time to pick a version color and a starter Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, and I'd probably go with Violet because I like purple better than red, and Fuecoco because he's a chili pepper dinosaur. Get out of here, you grass cat and the duck with the comb over. No contest. If Pokemon doesn't have enough stabbing, rest assured because you can have your pick of two other games with no shortage of sharp objects and bodily harm. The Dark Pictures anthology The Devil in Me has you attending a slumber party in a serial killer's house, that's on PC and the non-Switch consoles, and Heidelberg 1693 has a foppish dandy with a feather in his cap leaping about and stabbing the ever-loving baloney out of all sorts of arcane horrors, that's on all them consoles. On the 18th, PC players will also get to take Spider-Man Miles Morales for a spin. Get it? Because spiders spin webs. Moving on November 22nd, Gungrave Gore is an action game based on the hit anime from the creator of Trigun. That's coming to the Xboxes and the PC. There's also Ship of Fools, yet another roguelite, but this one's got co-op and boats. If you don't like boats, but you like cowboys and vampires, well, there's Evil West, a completely bonkers-looking third-person action game that is about a vampire hunting cowboy. And of course, as much as we may want to, we can't forget about Just Dance 2023, the 13th mainline entry in Ubisoft's unkillable and self-explanatory series. That's out for all the things, and just the thought of playing this after eating Thanksgiving dinner makes me want to throw up on a pile of coats that have been left on a bed in the guest room. But I hate dancing, so don't listen to me. All of those games are out on all sorts of different platforms, and I don't feel like listing those because I've become tired. So consult the on-screen graphics for more information. On November 29th, you can sneak into the kitchen and make yourself a Night Witch out of leftovers and then go sit on the couch to play The Night Witch, which is an adorable Metroidvania about a woman who apparently couldn't decide on just one character class, so she's doing two of them. That's on everything. On the 30th, you've got two games based on hobbies that normally require sprue cutters and X-Acto knives and occasionally a whole lot of paint. There's Gundam Evolution, the free-to-play Overwatch-like, which comes to consoles, and that's good because you can make a GM sniper shoot the Turn A Gundam right in its smug, mustachioed face. Hey Bandai, patch in the Easy 8 because I want to rip off my own own arm and hit somebody in the face with it. Also that day is Warhammer 40k Darktide on PC, which takes the hit formula of the Vermintide games, it subtracts the rats, adds a bunch of guns, and then launches the whole thing into deep space in the far future. There's no date yet, but Darktide is also coming to Series X, and it's on Game Pass either way, so you can experience the brutal grimdark universe of the frustratingly expensive tabletop game for less than the cost of a squad of Ultramarines. And there you have it, a meandering walking tour of November's biggest video games. What did we forget? What did we screw up? And what are you playing this month? Let us know in the comments below. If you'd like to see more of my annoying face